In the summer of 1402, on the sun-scorched plains near Ankara, two titans of the medieval world stood ready to clash. One was Bayezid I, Sultan of the rising Ottoman Empire, a man known as Yildirim, the Thunderbolt, for the speed of his military campaigns. The other was Timur, known in the West as Tamerlane, the iron-fisted conqueror of Central Asia, a military genius who claimed descent from Genghis Khan's bloodline. The stakes were immense. Two empires would collide, and only one man would emerge victorious. This is the story of ambition, pride, betrayal, and the brutal Battle of Ankara. In the late 14th century, the Islamic world was fragmented. The once mighty Mongol Empire had splintered, leaving a vacuum of power across Persia, Central Asia, and Anatolia. Timur rose from the steppes of Transoxiana, building a fearsome empire through relentless conquest. He defeated the Delhi Sultanate, crushed the Golden Horde, and humbled the Mamluks of Egypt. His reputation as an invincible warlord echoed across continents. Meanwhile, in the West, the Ottoman Empire was expanding with breathtaking speed. After the death of his father, Murad I, at Kosovo in 1389, Bayezid I seized the throne and immediately set out to consolidate and expand Ottoman territory. In 1396, at the Battle of Nicopolis, Bayezid crushed a massive crusader army, earning fear and respect throughout Europe and the Islamic world alike. Two ambitious leaders. Two expanding empires. Inevitably, their ambitions would collide. Tensions first flared over the fragmented beyliks of Anatolia. These small Turkish principalities had once been semi-independent, but Bayezid sought to bring them under Ottoman control. Many of these beyliks, feeling threatened, appealed to Timur for protection. Timur, seeing an opportunity to project his power westward, responded favorably. When Bayezid imprisoned several Anatolian rulers loyal to Timur, it was seen as a direct challenge. What followed was a bitter exchange of letters between the two rulers, filled with insults, threats, and barely concealed contempt. Timur accused Bayezid of arrogance and injustice. Bayezid mocked Timur's nomadic origins, dismissing him as a mere barbarian. Diplomacy crumbled. War became inevitable. Timur began moving westward, leading his seasoned army into Anatolia. Bayezid, caught off guard and preoccupied with a siege of Constantinople, hurriedly redirected his forces east to confront this new threat. The two armies could not have been more different. Timur's army was a masterwork of steppe warfare, highly mobile cavalry archers, terrifying war elephants captured from India, and hardened infantry veterans. Bayezid's forces included disciplined Ottoman regulars, elite janissaries, Serbian heavy cavalry under his son-in-law Stefan Lazarevic, and contingents from various vassal states. Yet Bayezid faced a critical disadvantage. His Anatolian troops, drawn from recently conquered territories, were of questionable loyalty. Timur, ever the strategist, knew this and planned accordingly. As Timur advanced, he scorched the earth before him, devastating villages and destroying supplies to weaken the Ottomans. He diverted rivers to deny Bayezid's army access to water sources, forcing them to endure unbearable thirst under the Anatolian sun. Bayezid, desperate to force a decisive battle, pressed on despite his army's worsening condition. On July 20, 1402, the two forces met outside Ankara. Bayezid arrayed his forces traditionally, janissaries in the center, Anatolian cavalry on the flanks, and Serbian knights anchoring the right wing. Timur's forces, by contrast, deployed in depth. Horse archers on the wings harassed the Ottomans, while the center remained strong, ready to absorb and counter any assault. The battle began with skirmishes. Timur's horse archers darted in and out, firing volleys of arrows, then retreating before the Ottomans could counterattack. Bayezid's Anatolian cavalry, frustrated and exhausted, began to lose discipline. Then came the turning point. Timur's agents had been secretly encouraging Bayezid's Anatolian troops to defect. At a critical moment, large sections of Bayezid's left wing abandoned the fight and joined Timur's ranks. This betrayal was catastrophic. Bayezid, now outflanked and outnumbered, tried to rally his remaining forces. The Serbian cavalry under Stefan Lazarevic fought heroically, smashing through Timur's lines in desperate charges, but they could not turn the tide alone. The Janissaries, loyal to the last, formed defensive squares and fought ferociously, but they too were overwhelmed. As the Ottoman army crumbled, Bayezid himself was captured. Legend says that he was surrounded, his horse killed from under him, and that he fought until exhaustion overcame him. However it happened, the Sultan of the Ottomans, the man who had once terrified Europe, was now a prisoner. Timur, victorious, treated Bayezid with a mixture of respect and cruelty. Some sources claim Bayezid was paraded before Timur's court like a trophy. Others suggest Timur showed him a grudging admiration, discussing military matters with his fallen rival. There are infamous legends of Bayezid being kept in an iron cage, mocked and humiliated. While these stories are debated, there is no doubt that Bayezid's captivity was a personal and political disaster. He died in March 1403, under mysterious circumstances, some say illness, others suicide. With Bayezid's fall, the Ottoman Empire plunged into chaos. His sons began fighting each other for control in a brutal civil war known as the Ottoman Interregnum. For over a decade, the once unified empire splintered into warring factions. Timur, for his part, did not stay to capitalize on his victory. True to his nature, he was already looking elsewhere, to China, where he dreamed of another great conquest. Yet he would never make it. Timur died on his campaign eastward in 1405.
The Battle of Ankara was one of the most decisive battles of the medieval Islamic world, yet its outcome was strange. Although Timur won an overwhelming victory, his empire did not last long after his death. The Ottomans, despite their catastrophic defeat, eventually recovered. Under Mehmed I and later sultans, they rebuilt their state and went on to create one of the most powerful empires in history. The lessons of Ankara are profound. First, that empires are fragile, even at their peak. Bayezid's rapid expansion had made him overconfident, stretched his forces thin, and alienated vital allies. Second, that loyalty is a delicate thing. Bayezid's Anatolian troops, conquered by force rather than won by loyalty, betrayed him when it mattered most. And third, that in the endless dance of ambition and conquest, no victory is permanent. Timur's triumph at Ankara was absolute, but it could not sustain his empire after his death. The battle between Bayezid and Timur was more than a clash of armies. It was a clash of worldviews. Bayezid represented the rising Ottoman model, a disciplined, centralized Islamic empire poised to bridge east and west. Timur represented the last great surge of the nomadic steppe warriors, the raw power of the Mongol legacy. Both men were ambitious, brilliant, and ruthless. Both believed themselves destined for greatness. But history has a way of humbling even the mightiest. Today, the Battle of Ankara remains a powerful reminder. In war, it is not always the strongest who prevail. It is those who can endure loss, adapt, and rebuild who ultimately shape the world. Bayezid lost the battle, but the Ottomans would rise again. Timur won the battle, but his empire would crumble. And so, from the ashes of defeat, the Ottomans would eventually conquer Constantinople and become the terror of Europe for centuries to come.